Hey everyone, welcome back to MelodyEverAfter. Today's video is going to be about making mistakes. Mistakes. We all make them. We all hate them. Have you ever done something so embarrassing it makes you wish that you were sucked into the endless, unforgiving void of space, never to be seen by your friends or loved ones ever again? Well, apparently this creator hasn't. Caroline Konstnar has not only doubled down on faking a pregnancy, but also faking a miscarriage as a way to get money from her Patreons. Capitalism at work. Caroline Konstnar is a very popular YouTuber. She has around 1 million followers, and she's been doing this for 5 years, which honestly could explain the neurotic behavior. Give me enough time and I might be picking off all my skin with chopsticks checking for bugs, all in time. But that aside, Caroline has been on the internet long enough to know that people who fake pregnancies are not only made fun of, discouraged, and hated on, but also it's just rude to do. Honestly, can you think of a time that any celebrity has faked a pregnancy and the internet thought it was funny? I mean, take JoJo Siwa for an example. Faking a miscarriage isn't just weird though, it's also really disrespectful. So I say that she was doing this for money. What justified her to make this business decision? Konstnar claims that she was tired of the parasocial relationship her fans had with her, so she decided to fake a pregnancy and then fake a miscarriage in order to prove a point that her fans had a crazy, obsessive parasocial relationship with her. And then she used it as an advertisement for her Patreon. She spent the entire video talking about how toxic parasocial relationships were, and then advertised that if you really wanted to get to know Caroline, you'd have to subscribe to her Patreon in order to really get access to the intimate and personal details of her life. No, I'm not kidding. This is apparently not a joke. I don't know, I feel like I'm being pranked here. Now, according to her comment section, I know I'm not the only one who thinks that this is the most idiotic, facetious thing I've ever heard in my entire life, but I feel like to really understand the full context of this and break down the whole situation, we're gonna have to roll it back to a couple weeks ago when she announced her pregnancy. Or pregnancy.
I'm good, guys. I'm actually so good. I want to have a kid, I just don't think I can have a fucking kid right now!
Remember how I had like shit going on with my uterus when I was 16? Like I had surgeries just to get stuff removed, so like my fertility's always been kind of weird. I'm pregnant, and if there's any kind of like surgical intervention, I could really fuck up my fertility. Like I might not be able to have a kid again. And then the other thing is that if I have this kid, it's very likely that I won't be able to have another one.
I don't know what I'm gonna do. Holy hell, I'm going to have a seizure. But what kind of this is crazy. Look, I'm not saying that she's 100% lying. She may have actual fertility issues. I don't know. But does anyone else think that maybe it seems a little fucked that she's crying on the floor, shedding tears about how this pregnancy is gonna put her fertility at risk when there's literally millions of women whose fertility is actually at risk because of ectopic pregnancies, PCOS, health issues that are actually at risk of the United States for not even being able to be treated in some states? She's sitting here crying about how bad this pregnancy is going to affect her fertility when she's not even pregnant. Does anyone else think that's weird? Then she goes on to talk about how she's called all her friends and family and they aren't excited for her and they aren't taking her seriously.
I've had friends and family reach out to me and I've just sort of casually told them that I'm having a child. I haven't really done a whole announcement, but the reaction that I get from people is so interesting because they're like, oh, that's so nice for you. I'm really glad that you're deciding to do that with your life. And I'm like, God damn, can't we make motherhood cool again? We need a new ad campaign for motherhood, seriously.
We now know that they weren't taking her seriously because she wasn't serious. Even if she was pregnant, of course they're not going to take her seriously. Do you not see how lying about your pregnancy reinforces the stereotype that women your age, 20 years old, are not mature enough to have kids? Like, you talk about this fake pregnancy and about how no one was excited for you. You are furthering the stigma that young people are not good mothers. You've invalidated every single point you've made in your sappy little knockoff version of Juno. All right, guys, now that you've had your little appetizer, now on to my qualms with the actual miscarriage video. Yeah, qualm, add that to your vocabulary.
Okay, guys, I lost the baby, and I don't know exactly where I put it. It has to be around here somewhere. Okay, so some of you guys are probably wondering.
That was really funny.
When you're a content creator, the line between entertainment and reality is very blurred. Your audience will become very attached to an abstraction of yourself. And the odd thing is that this connection can become very personally meaningful to the viewers, whilst not being personally meaningful to the creator itself. Your attention is monetarily valuable to me. And unless you have some narcissistic tendencies, which a lot of us do, the experience of having a parasocial relationship with your audience can be very uncomfortable.
Okay. Interesting point. I feel like a lot of people would agree with you thus far.
I'll give you an example. When I was 15 and I first started making content, I had a lot of people threaten to rape me every day. And if you could imagine, this was not fun. And the problem with this, beyond the obvious, is that there's no meaningful way to respond to this interaction. The offender has anonymity, and in some way, so do I. So I'm not treating them like a real person. They're not treating me like a real person. You're not real. And I'm not real, and none of this is real.
Okay, hold on. Girl boss, I do not know how to tell you this, but that is not even the definition of a parasocial relationship. A parasocial relationship is when someone thinks that they have a real relationship with someone they only know from the internet or in the context of their fame. You just said that people aren't treating you like a real person. That's actually the opposite of a parasocial relationship. What you're thinking of is objectification. That's okay. One day you'll understand all of the internet buzzwords. I believe in you.
Don't come here to find this connection over and over again. And we don't really find it until now, when you subscribe to my Patreon. Oh yeah, that's fucking right. This entire stunt has been an advertisement for my Patreon.
Parasocial relationships are like the worst, guys. I just hate them. Anyway, subscribe to my Patreon if you really want to know the details about my life. I'm selling my personal details to you so you can further believe in your delusions. Okay.
I didn't think that it would be healthy for me to expose myself like that to all of you. And that's why I decided to keep a lot of my more sensitive information behind a paywall, where I would hope some of the audience would be more intentional with how they interact with me, because now it costs money to do so.
What sensitive details could she possibly be putting behind this Patreon paywall? Is she going to put like her social security number, address? By chance, is she going to get actually pregnant and then only announce it on there? I mean, what are we expecting here? The reason she has decided to do this is because she thinks her fans are weird.
Some of you in my audience are pretty weird, and I don't blame any of you. You know, you can't help being weird, but I didn't think that it would be healthy for me to expose myself like that to all of you.
You know, you can't help being weird.
You can't help that you are weird. This is the message she has for her fan base. To all the people who are members of her Patreon, I have one question. Why? Why? Why would you idolize someone who genuinely admits that the only people who want her information are weirdos?
Huh?
So, to recap, Caroline had not made a YouTube video in over a year. She essentially disappeared off the face of the internet and planet for as far as anyone knew. And that leads me to think she probably wasn't making a lot of YouTube ad revenue. So then she comes back, she has this strategy, she's going to announce that she's pregnant, then she's going to announce that she had a miscarriage, make it a advertisement for her Patreon so she can make money that she would have made if she just would have continued making videos on YouTube. I don't even know what to say to that. Another point I want to bring up. This entire video sounds like it was filmed in a garage. What is the Patreon money going for if not to help her channel? I just really don't understand the logic here. She ends the video by saying that she's ready to start making YouTube content again, and go ahead and send in your emails and ask her questions, and she's gonna start making her series where she gives life advice again.
What better way to return to YouTube? What more ceremonious way to return to YouTube than by bringing back the advice videos? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Not Dr. Caroline is back in the building.
Life advice from the person who faked a pregnancy and a miscarriage. I think I'm good. I find it particularly horrifying that this series for life advice, where she answers her viewers' questions, is called Life Advice from the Mom You Never Had. You mean the mom that you aren't? And this is really just my personal little dig, but at the end of this video where she's really pushing this life advice, she gives an example email where she writes, "Somebody call 911, shorty fire burden on the dance whore, ha 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 ha, da-da-dum, Pink Panther song." Okay, I'm sorry. Quality of this video is suffering towards the end simply because I didn't have a content plan or strategy. Really? Never would have guessed. I told everyone I was pregnant, which is like my fault, but whatever. Do not fucking judge me for a second. I have Grammarly college was hard, and I was homeschooled. We all have our demons, for fuck's sake, I'm trying, what more do you want? Is this like horrifyingly tone deaf to anybody else but me? So those are not only my issues with this whole debacle, but really the things that I just think are extremely odd about Caroline Konstnar's fake miscarriage and pregnancy. I felt like it was overkill. No pun intended. I have no words. I mean, at the end of the day, she must be doing something, I don't know about right, but she must be doing something because she has over 1 million subscribers and a lot of people who subscribe to her Patreon and fund her life through that. So, I mean, what can I say? How do you guys feel about this? Let me know in the comment section down below. In the meantime, you've been watching MelodyEverAfter. I make pop culture commentary channel where I comment on hot topics, spooky, silly things like Dungeons & Dragons, horror movies, video games, and more. If you're interested in that, I'd really appreciate it if you checked my channel out. You've been watching MelodyEverAfter. Until next time.